Hello everyone, my name is Amy and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from the UK. And my Facebook page and things are all called Amy Loves Craft. And today I'm going to show you how I've made these little thank you gift bags full of fudge. I haven't made the fudge, I'm not that clever, but I've made the packaging for them to go into to make them a little bit better than the shop bought packaging that they came in. So I'm going to make one of these today, and it's nice and quick and easy. Don't need very many supplies, and it's really effective. So I'm going to make one using this designer series paper today, and it's from the Whole Lot of Lovely collection. All of the ones that I've made so far have been made out of this paper, and it's got designs on both sides. Because this one's got a stripe on that side, and I want the stripe to go up the inside of the bag, I'm going to make sure that I cut it so that I've got my panel going that way. And you need 2 strips of the DSP. So you need one that measures 7.5 by 13 and another one that measures 7.5 by 9. So I'm first of all, double check the stripes the right way. I'm going to first of all cut it at 7.5, and I can save that bit for later. And I'm going to cut it at 13 centimeters. So that's my first panel. And then I'm going to cut it at 9 centimeters. And that's my other piece that I'm going to need. And this bit then I can use for the front panel of a card, to mat and layer, or anything else, but that's not going to go to waste. So I'll put that off to one side. And while I've got the trimmer out, I'm going to cut the banner to go across the front as well. So for that one, you just need a piece of Whisper White card that measures 2 centimeters by 8.5, as I want it a bit wider than the total of the bag, so it comes off at the end here like that. If you want it to be the same width as it, then the bag is pretty much 7.5 centimeters wide, so just cut it a bit shorter. But I'm going for that bit longer, so I've gone for 8.5. So that's my banner for that, and that is all the cutting that I'm going to need to do. So I'm going to put that to one side. Oh no, I can't, because I've got to score them. Honestly, I'm probably bad with this. So for the DSP, we also need to score them both at 4.5 centimeters, and that's to create the crease so it folds along the bottom of the bag and so that it folds across the top of it. So both of them, still make sure that you've got it on the 7.5 centimeters this way. Don't have it so that you're on the 9 on the smaller piece. Double check your measurements. Not that I've done that at all before myself. So there we go. So they're both now scored at 4.5. And I'm going to have the stripes on the inside, so I'm going to fold mine ready. Don't need a very tight fold, so I'm not going to use my bone folder this time. But there's my pieces of DSP, and there's my piece of Whisper White ready to stamp. So I think I'm going to do the stamping bit first, and then I'll assemble it all at the same time. So to stamp on here, I'm going to first of all cut my flag part at the end, so the banner part. And to do this, I'm not very good at freehand doing it, so I'm going to use my classic label punch. And what I'm going to do is line it up pretty much in the middle of along here to the point, so that it starts that bit there. And I'm going to use these then just to follow that line through to the end, and that way I've hopefully got a bit of a better flag than I can normally do freehand. Otherwise I end up starting to cut it and it ends up being about this length because I'm not happy with it. But that one there looks fine. So I'm going to use the same font and the same stamp as what I used for these ones. So all of the stamps that I've used come from the Daisy Delight stamp set, which is a new stamp set that's out in the annual catalogue. I know there's been some issues getting the punch to go with it. I have luckily got the punch, I've not had to play with it yet, but the stamps should still be available, and actually they're lovely on their own. So I'm going to use this thank you here, and also I'm going to be using this bit here, which is meant to be sort of small flowers to go with the stems, but if you have a look on this one, all I've done is just created a bit of a background to the banner. I just thought it gives it a bit more interest than just the font on plain white. So I'm going to first of all do the thank you, and I'm actually going to heat emboss it. So I'm going to first of all just put a bit of my embossing buddy over here to stop the static, and I'm going to first of all ink up with Versamark, which my lovely ink pad is nice and mucky, but that won't matter. And you can actually, by using this technique, ink with any of our normal ink pads, or emboss, sorry, with any of our normal ink pads. So this one here is Tangerine Tango, and so I've got my Versamark on there first, and then I'm just gonna put Tangerine Tango on the top, and I'm gonna get a bit of scrap white paper to be able to catch the embossing powder in a second. And I'm just going to stamp that on there. So by doing that, and hopefully getting enough Versamark on there, it should mean that it's still captured all of the embossing powder and it's kept it sticky. But because I've then used clear embossing powder, I should have probably said that, it's going to mean that the colour is what appears to be embossed. So it's got the clear embossing powder on the top. So there's that ready, and you're going to have to excuse the bit of noise at the moment. Let's just heat up my gun. And I always tend to heat it up first. It means you've got it less time on the actual paper, and it tends to take effect a bit quicker. There we go, it starts to go. And we'll get that lovely embossed effect. Hopefully you can still hear me over the top. There we go. That's done, so it doesn't take long. But now, not sure if you can see on there, that it is now an embossed orange as opposed to just a flat stamped orange. Buckled my paper a bit. Probably should have put something heat proof down. So that one's the word done, and as I said, I was going to use the other smaller stamp, this one here, to give it a bit of interest in the background. And I was going to do that in Pool Party. So the inks that I've used and chosen match in with the DSP, and you can actually tell the colours that will match on the back of the DSP packet. So here's the packet of paper, and on the back, on the label in the corner, it will tell you all of the colours that have been used in it. So within the paper we've got basic black, crushed curry, pear pizzazz, Pool Party, powder pink, soft suede, tangerine tango, tranquil oh my goodness me, tranquil tide, and whisper white. So I've used tangerine tango for the font, and I'm going to use some Pool Party for the background parts. And I'm actually going to stamp off first, maybe. No, Pool Party is quite a light colour, so I think I'll go just full strength, and just twist it round so they're not all in the same direction. Just do a little bit of background stamping, and I've done it afterwards so that not too much goes behind the font, as much as it's a very bold colour. I think if it was too much within the sort of middle of the A and the middle of the O, it might just look a little bit too busy, but hopefully it makes it slightly less boring. Not less boring because it's just white, but just a bit more interest on it. So I think I've now got everything ready to actually start putting everything together. So the bags, sorry, hope you're not hearing me clatter around too much. I've just realised I've lost something. The bags I'm using are the 3" by 6" gusseted cellophane bags. They come in a pack of 25. for the bargain price of £4.25. So they've just got that bit of give inside of them. And it means that you can fit in quite a lot into them, to be honest. Now for the bottom of these, we actually want them to sit quite flat. So what I do is I put in this part to start with the part that's 4.5 inches, or not 4.5 inches, sorry, 4.5 centimetres before the fold at the bottom, so that it bends down and it starts to create my base. Because this part here at the end of the bag, we actually want to stick flat. So to do that, I've been using fast fuse. So all I've been doing is just running a line of fast fuse along the bottom, and then once this here goes inside and creates that base, you can see that, all I've then been doing is then just folding it back over onto itself, so then it gives me that flat base. And if you put something heavy in it, just weigh it down for a second, there we go, then as my hands are a bit too big to fit in it itself, I use my punch. It's now created that flat base and it will stand up there on its own. And this is what I meant about the stripes running. So I wanted my stripes to run this way around the bag. So when I cut my DSP, I made sure that's the way it was. But if you want a horizontal stripe, just cut it the other way. So I put in my paper. Now I need to put in the things that I'm going to fill it with. So again, I'm going to put some fudge in this one. And for me, I found that about 11 bits is about right. So what's that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I've been just using some dairy fudge from local supermarket. These come from Tesco in the UK. And you can get 2 packs like this for about £3. And I've been able to make 3 of these out of 2 bags. So I bought a few more to do the rest, but yeah, so works out to be about £1 each. But the 11 seemed to be about right. 10 looked like it was a little bit empty, but 12, it just didn't quite close quite nicely enough. So all we're going to do is pinch the top shut so that it matches. And with our other piece of DSP that we already cut, it's just directly in half because of the measurements, and we've already scored it. That just fits over the top. If you had a patterned DSP, make sure that the pattern continues up the edge. It makes for a better finish. So on this one here, the lines of the flowers just continue going up through from this piece of card to the bit on the inside. And if I'd have put this paper around the other way so that the stripes were running, I'd make sure I have my colours lined up as well. So I haven't got to worry too much because it's just flowers on both sides. But I do want to make sure that I've got it correctly on there. So just pinched it shut, and all I've done is held, let's do that again. So pinching it shut like that, and I'm just going to put my DSP part on the top. Now I did think of doing ribbon, sort of punching a hole and putting ribbon on it, but actually the best thing I found was staples, and unfortunately Stampin' Up don't sell, oh now my stapler is going to go kaput. Stampin' Up don't sell the stapler anymore, but as most of us are fairly crafty, we've normally got stuff like a stapler hanging around anyway. So if you've got the Stampin' Up stapler that they did last year, well done, because I never got one in time. I've just got a little mini one from my kids' set, and I've just been stapling them along the top. Tried to get them fairly straight when I've done them, but I found they don't show up too badly anyway, and it's just the easiest way of closing. So there's my bag done. All I now need to do is attach my banner to the front. And just to make it a little bit different, what I've been doing is putting it flat at one end, slightly giving it a raise up with a dimensional at this end. So if you just curl it really slightly with your fingers, and put a bit of fast fuse down this edge. And remember the technique of flicking it away at the end so it doesn't continue to run out. And then just using one of my Stampin' Dimensionals, I'm going to put that down at that side, pick that end bit off, which those things I find everywhere. And we're just going to position it so it's got a bit of a border around this edge here. Stick that bit down flat and then stick down the dimensional at that end. And there is the banner. I'm done. And for less than 5 minutes work, you have got a really nice improved gift bag from the supermarket shop bag. And as I said, I've done it with a few different DSPs, or sorry, same pack of DSP, just different designs of the paper. I'm really pleased with them. For the gifts for my daughter to take into school, I've also actually punched using the 1/16 circle punch, a really tiny hole, used a bit of pool party thread and put a little tag on the back as well, just saying thank you for teaching me and love from Holly Ann, which is my daughter's name, and put that on the back just as a little bit of a tag. On this one I'm not going to, because this is going to be for another person and a different reason, so the thank you is fine for that one. But hopefully you like the simpleness of them and find it a quick and nice easy way to glam up otherwise quite boring gift. Thank you for watching.